cover how to properly fit an e-collar. We're working with the dog tree collar, specifically the 200C model. And hi, Sweetie, we have lovely Oakley here helping us out today. Oakley is an 8-month-old German Shepherd in our board and train program. Good girl. So one of the first things that you want to make sure you do before you put the collar on is to make sure it's turned on, okay? So I'm going to turn the collar on, which if you take a look at our previous video, it shows you how to turn the collar on, how to turn it off, and also how to charge it. So now that I know the collar is on, I'm going to decide, because it's the first time maybe she's worn this one, where I want the receiver to sit on this black band here, because it actually moves around. Ideally, I want the receiver, once it's on her, to sit between 3 and 5 or 7 and 9 on her neck. There's a large muscle there, and I want it to be able to make contact with that muscle. So how I decide where that goes is I want this clip where I might actually, where the leash would possibly attach at the back of her neck. So if I put it on right now, it's on this side, it's about on 4 o'clock, which is perfect. So that's a great place for me to leave the receiver on this band, okay? Because Oakley here has some long fur, I might choose to put the 1-inch contact points on the collar, which we always keep in stock, and you can order from most of the e-collar companies that will have them there for you to order. So once I put it on her neck, it's got a regular, just like a belt buckle does up at the back of her neck here, and it's always going to be a little bit tighter than what you think, okay? So I'm going to show you kind of on my hand here. If the prongs themselves have to make contact with the muscle. So not only just kind of sit on the muscle, but a little bit pushed in, okay? So when I slip my fingers underneath her collar, it's sitting like this, and I can put my hand under, obviously it's not making contact, okay? And if I have the collar on so tight that I cannot even pull the prongs away from the muscle, it's going to be too tight. What I'm looking for is it to be just tight enough that I can pull the prongs away from the muscle and slide my 2 fingers underneath the prongs like this, okay? So if I can't pull it away too tight, if my hand easily slides underneath, it's too loose, okay? So once I put it on, hey, Oakley, leave the bumblebee, Oakley, come here, good girl. Got a little bit of attention span, difficulties here with the bumblebees, good girl. All right, so I'm gonna pop the e-collar on. And a tip for a lot of the dogs that have the thick fur is that at first you're basically layering the whole collar on top of the hair. And then maybe when you're walking, it's moving back and forth, the collar itself slips underneath the hair, okay? Which actually makes the whole collar loose. So a lot of people will tell me, well, I put it on pretty tight, it felt real tight, it felt good. And then halfway through the walk, I noticed that it was too loose. One of the quickest ways also to tell if it's too loose is I'll walk up to a client, it's got it on maybe at our next lesson, and I can move the box. Come here. Can you sit up for me? Come here. Come. Good. Sit. Good. If I can move the receiver around this easily around her neck, that tells me right away that it's going to be too loose. If the prongs are not making contact with the muscle, you're not able to get the contact you need to get the function of the collar working. So I'm going to put it on. If your dog, you can hear a change in your dog's breath, or it sounds like they're having a labor breathing, definitely too tight. I'm going to back off a couple holds off of that one. So for her here, I can get my hands under the collar. I can pull the box away, slide my 2 fingers under, and that's good. I actually might even go one tighter, because I can notice that when it's sitting there on her neck, it's a little too easy to slide my whole hand under. Try with it a bit. If you're walking with your dog and you're giving them corrections, you're pressing on the dog tree collar, the nick button, and you find that they're not responding, instead of going up and up and up and then possibly pulling the collar into contact and having them overreact, first things first, always check the contact of the prongs. It's way more fair to the dog, and that way you don't accidentally give them too high of a correction. Sweetie? Yeah? Want to get some work done? All right, so that's how to properly fit an e-collar, specifically with the Dog Tree 200Z.